What if the reason you can't seem to hold on to money has nothing to do with discipline and everything to do with something your brain learned before you turned 10? Not because you're careless, not because you don't work hard, but because your brain built a money blueprint long before you knew what money even was. And here's what makes that so difficult to deal with. You've been living by that blueprint ever since, and you never even knew it existed. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand something about your own mind that most people spend their entire lives never figuring out. And once you see it, you'll start noticing it everywhere, in your decisions, your stress, even your bank balance. Let me start with a question. Have you ever gotten a raise, felt genuinely excited, and then found yourself just as tight on money 3 months later? Have you ever told yourself you'd start saving next month, and next month quietly became next year? Have you ever looked at your bank account and genuinely couldn't explain where everything went, even though you know you try? If any of that sounds familiar, this isn't a willpower problem. It's a wiring problem, and it lives inside your skull. Here's what most financial content will never tell you. By the time you're around 10 years old, many of your earliest beliefs about money have already started forming, often without you even realizing it. Neuroscientists and developmental psychologists call this early financial conditioning, and it works like this. Your brain, especially in those first 10 years, is in a period of intense pattern absorption. It's watching everything. The way the adults around you talked about money, the way they stressed about it, the way they avoided talking about it, the way they spent it when they were happy, and the way they reached for it when they were sad. And your brain didn't just observe those patterns, it filed them as rules. Because to a child's brain, whatever the people around you do is the safe thing to do. That is how you survive. That is how you belong. So if you grew up in a house where money was always tight, your brain concluded that no matter how much comes in, it leaves just as fast. That's just how money works. That's just what life is. And here's the part that costs people everything. You grew up, your income changed, your circumstances changed, but those early rules your brain wrote, they didn't update with you. They're still running quietly in the background, every single day. Let me show you exactly what this looks like in real life. Meet Marcus. Marcus is 34. He earns decent money, he's not reckless, he doesn't gamble, he doesn't make wild financial decisions. But month after month, he's barely keeping pace. His savings account has almost the same balance it had 2 years ago. He genuinely can't figure out why. What Marcus doesn't know is that when he was 7 years old, he watched his father come home with a bonus check, more money than the family usually saw at once, and within 2 weeks, it was gone. Delayed bills, a repair that couldn't wait, a small celebration that grew into something bigger. Gone. Marcus never thought about that consciously. He was 7, but his brain filed it as a rule. Extra money gets spent. That's what you do with it. That's what it's for. So now, at 34, every time Marcus receives a bonus, a refund, any unexpected amount, some part of his brain immediately goes looking for somewhere to put it. Not savings, spending, because that's what the model says money does. It moves, it flows out. Holding on to it feels slightly wrong, even unsettling, even though he can't explain why. This isn't weakness, this isn't failure. This is a 7-year-old survival map still giving directions to a 34-year-old man. And honestly, I've seen this happen with people who earn 6 figures and still feel broke every month. The income changed, the wiring didn't. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Your brain doesn't just store these old money rules as distant memories, it physically reinforces them every single time you follow them. Your brain strengthens whatever you repeat. The more often you follow a pattern, the more automatic that pattern becomes. Eventually, it stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like instinct, like just how you are with money. So every time you receive money and immediately feel the pull to spend it, that reflex gets stronger. Every time you feel a low-level anxiety when your account sits too comfortably, that response deepens. Every time buying something relieves a bad feeling, that connection tightens. That's the rewiring. That's what's actually happening when you say, I just can't seem to hold on to money. You're not broken. You're following a very well-paved road that was built a very long time ago. And there's strong behavioral research behind this, especially in developmental psychology and behavioral economics. Studies consistently show that adults who grew up in households where money was framed as stressful, scarce, or something to be ashamed of were significantly more likely to struggle financially, even when their income increased. Even when their income increased. Which means two people can earn the same salary, live in the same city, have access to the same opportunities, and end up in completely different financial positions because of programming that was installed before they were old enough to question it. And this is exactly why budgeting apps don't fix it, why savings challenges don't fix it, why most financial advice doesn't fix it, because all of it targets the behavior without ever touching the wiring underneath. So how do you actually know if your brain has been working against your financial future? Here are 3 signs. Be honest with yourself as I name them. Sign 1. Money feels like it's meant to be spent, not saved, not invested, spent. When you have it, there's a pull to move it. When your account sits at a comfortable number, something inside you feels restless until it's not comfortable anymore. Sign 2. Your financial goals keep resetting. You make a plan, you feel motivated, then somewhere around week 3 or 4, the energy quietly disappears. Not because the plan was wrong, because some deeper part of your brain doesn't actually believe the goal is possible for someone like you, and it stops cooperating. Sign 3. You know exactly what you should be doing, and you still don't do it. You know the basics. Earn more than you spend, save, build. You know this, but knowing and doing feel like 2 completely different things because they live in 2 completely different parts of your brain. The knowing lives in your logical mind, the doing is driven by your wiring, and the wiring almost always wins. This is the part that changes everything. The brain that rewired itself once can rewire itself again. This isn't motivational filler, this is basic neuroscience. The brain's ability to form entirely new pathways, to restructure itself based on new behavior, is called neuroplasticity, and it doesn't stop working when you reach adulthood. It slows slightly, but it never stops, which means the road your brain has been taking for 20 or 30 years, the one that leads straight to spending every extra dollar, the one that treats saving as always optional, that road can be rerouted. Not through willpower, not through motivation, through repeated, conscious, deliberate behavior that builds a new road right beside the old one. Here's what that actually looks like in practice. The first move is identification. You have to catch the wiring running before it finishes. The moment you feel that pull to spend something unexpected, stop for 2 seconds. Ask yourself, where did I first learn this is what you do with money? You may not have a clear answer, but the question itself disrupts the automatic response. 2 seconds of awareness is enough to interrupt the loop. The second move is replacement, not restriction. Your brain resists having a behavior taken away without something replacing it. So instead of just trying not to spend, replace the impulse with a small, deliberate action that points in the opposite direction. When unexpected money arrives, before anything else, move a portion of it. Doesn't have to be all of it. 10% works. The amount isn't the point. The repetition is the point. Small, consistent actions build new neural roads faster than large one-time decisions. The third move is designing your environment so that saving happens automatically before you even see the money. Set up a transfer that runs the moment your income arrives. Make the decision once. Let the system carry it forward. You're not fighting your wiring. You're building a structure that works around it. Back to Marcus. Marcus didn't need a new budget. He didn't need more discipline. He needed to understand why every extra dollar already felt like it had somewhere to be. Once he understood that, once he traced that restless feeling all the way back to a 7-year-old watching a bonus disappear, something shifted. Not immediately, not all at once, but the awareness itself was the beginning of a different road. He started moving money before he could feel the pull to spend it. Small amounts, consistent ones. And over time, the new behavior started to feel less foreign, less uncomfortable. The old road didn't disappear, but a new one started forming right next to it. That's how this works. That's where it starts. You didn't choose the rules your brain wrote when you were 7. You didn't have the awareness or the power to question them back then. But you're old enough to question them now. And once you start questioning them, you stop being controlled by them. So tell me, how old were you when money first felt stressful? Drop that number in the comments, because for most people, that number tells the whole story.
I'll see you in the next one.